Facebook Friends Group 2418395562. Xiao Shuai-jun stood in front of the mirror, looking at the immature and green face in the mirror. After a long time, he took a handful of clear water and slapped it firmly on his face. It has been determined that he was reborn from 2013 to 2004. In this year, he had just turned 18 and he did not enter any school in the opera, Chinese opera, or Nortel. I am currently renting a house in a village not far from Hongdian. I usually do group performances and mixed meals. I learn how to direct myself when I have free time. If he continues to follow the historical trajectory, he will eventually become an assistant director from group performances to stage affair, from lighting to props in the next few years. This director has been working for more than 3 years and has worked with 7 crews. He wakes up in the morning and is greedy for the dark. After he is busy, he does the work of the director and is paid for the field work. Despite the hard days, Xiao Shuai-jun persisted, hoping to be a director one day. In 2013, he finally realized this wish, and Dengtian Entertainment agreed to ask him to be the director of a movie. From finalizing the script to setting the scenes, from actor makeup to scene selection, Xiao Shuai-jun only sleeps for 3 hours a day, and spends the rest of the time on the movie. A month later, the movie started, but the director was not him. After Xiao Shuai-jun's preparations were completed, Dengtian Entertainment temporarily changed the director and replaced a new director born in the 90s. Xiao Shuai-jun, who couldn't think of driving, got drunk and had a car accident, and then came here on March 16, 2004. The cold water made Xiao Shuai-jun sober from his memories, and he was reborn anyway. After the first few days of discomfort, Xiao Shuai-jun began to examine his current situation. In the previous life, he was mixed in the entertainment industry. Although he worked desperately, he was dull by nature. He had no connections and background. He could only look at others glamorous, and he was a cow and a horse. Temporary removal of the director, there is no one to help speak, and the career in the entertainment industry is not a failure. When he was just reborn, Xiao Shuai-jun also imagined that he would make a fortune by relying on his memory for 10 years. But the dream soon shattered, wasted for nearly 10 years, nothing but director skills. I know that the stocks of Tencent, Google, and Facebook will rise, but I have no money in my pocket. I know that the World Cup is very popular, but he is not a fan, and I don't know whether he will win or lose. I know that the economic crisis is about to break out, but I forgot the specific year. And the only thing he understands, and is the most familiar, is the movie. He has been in the entertainment industry for so many years, and he has watched almost every big fire movie hundreds of times, learned the successes, and imagined that he would shoot it. How to shoot? Even for some hot movies, he himself participated in the shooting. Wiping his face, Xiao Shuai-jun was a little irritable. If he can, he really doesn't want to enter the entertainment circle anymore. This is a dark circle on the outside and tiring. Dengtian Entertainment's behavior even shattered Xiao Shuai-jun's dream, causing him to dislike the entertainment industry over the years, and he began to hate it all. In fact, I just want to find a job, earn money, and be filial to my parents. In my previous life, I just worked my own, and I didn't even have time to take care of my dad in the hospital. I went straight to Hongdian to do horizontal drifting. My only confidence is that I can make movies. I have 10 years of memory and countless good movies. After breakfast, Xiao Shuai-jun finally made a decision. Although he began to reject the entertainment industry, he decided to make a movie. This is the only way he can make money and make big money. God arranged for him to be born again, then live well and enjoy life. To make a movie, you must first have a script. Xiao Shuai-jun has so many things in his mind. The second is investment. Xiao Shuai-jun felt a little speechless when he felt only 800 yuan in his pocket. Of course, he was not depressed. As a rebirth, it was easy to make a little money. According to the memory in his mind, Xiao Shuai-jun knew that the famous director Zhang Yimou had just finished filming Ambush on 10 Sides and the crew was making up the shots at the Hongdian Film and Television Base, and he himself was in Hongdian. Touching his chin, Xiao Shuai-jun took out his pen and paper and began to concentrate on creating. What he wants to create is a script, The Love of Hawthorn Tree, which is a literary film script adapted from the novel of the same name. The novel of the same name was created in 2006. Once it was published, it attracted the attention of directors such as Zhang Yimou, Feng Xiaogang, and Li Yang. Zhang Yimou eventually grabbed the copyright and shot the movie. As a literary film, it won a record 160 million box office. The Love of Hawthorn Tree was also studied by Xiao Shuai-jun for a long time. Of course, this movie is about love in the 1970s. Xiao Shuai-jun's experience is not very deep, but it does not prevent him from writing it completely. For 3 days in a row, the script of The Love of Hawthorn Tree by Mo Xiang was released. Xiao Shuai-jun put it in his arms, took care of his appearance, and went out. First go to the Hongdian Copyright Bureau to register the script, and then go to the filming location of Ambush on 10 Sides. The filming location has been drawn up to prohibit tourists from entering, and Xiao Shuai-jun is no exception. It is impossible to see Zhang Yimou directly. Xiao Shuai-jun could only give the script to Zhang Yimou's outreach assistant, and put his name and contact address on the script, and then went home to wait. With the excellent script of The Hawthorn Tree Love, as long as Zhang Yimou sees it, he will definitely contact him. Xiao Shuai-jun is not in a hurry, he is now anxious to consider his first movie. Although the script is good, the script of literary and artistic films has always been inexpensive. The price is estimated to be at most 180,000. Fortunately, 180,000 is almost enough for my own movie script. After brushing, Xiao Shuai-jun wrote the name of the movie Buried Alive on the white paper. In this 2010 noir film directed by Spanish director Rodrigo Cortés, popular Hollywood star Ryan Reynolds plays a contract worker truck driver kidnapped in Iraq, but wakes up to find himself put it in a coffin and buried it alive somewhere in the Iraqi desert. He only has a lighter, a cell phone, 2 light sticks, a flashlight that turns on and off, and a pen. This is probably the smallest thriller. The whole story of Buried Alive happened in a coffin. Then for the entire 94-minute movie, Paul kept calling for help in the coffin and negotiating with the kidnappers. Excluding the woman who was shot in the mobile video, only Reynolds was the only actor in this film, plus a snake who slipped into the coffin halfway. Even the miracle of the small-cost movie Ghost Record, there is a house as the background of the story, and a few people appeared on the scene. Buried Alive is simply the simplest low-carbon movie. Originally, the production cost of this film was almost $2 million. Of course, this refers to the remuneration of the starring Ryan Reynolds. Xiao Shuai-jun did the calculations. 10,000 yuan is enough for props and equipment. If the graphics are more elaborately packaged, and the travel expenses for promotion are included, it can be done within 50,000 yuan. The only big expense is the actors. Even if you don't ask for a high box office, Xiao Shuai-jun has to find an actor with acting skills, plus a woman who passes by. The script of Buried Alive is quite thoughtful. The protagonist is an American, a hired driver of a multinational company, working for a CRT company. He was hijacked somewhere in Iraq and buried alive. The robbers left him with a flashlight, a mobile phone, 2 light sticks and a knife. He also has a small pot of wine, a bottle of medicine and a lighter. The robber asked him to call to raise $5 million. The background of the whole story is not terrorist attacks or retaliation against American soldiers, but just a process in which an Iraqi took a criminal path after losing his job because of the expansion of a US company in Iraq. In the eyes of this robber, Americans are rich. But from the entire process of self-rescue for the hostages, what the film shows is that as ordinary Americans, they are equally poor and have no guarantee of life. Throughout the process of struggling to save himself, this American named Paul called 911. The State Council, the FBI, the company he served, his family, friends, etc. were all subjected to varying degrees of indifference, shirk responsibility, and bureaucratic institutions. The irony of the film is quite strong, and it also explores the relationship between people in modern society. It has connotation, depth, low text, and simple content. This is a very suitable script for Xiao Shuai-jun's current situation of being poor and white. Such a script is made into a movie, and in terms of positioning, it is not suitable for large-scale screening. In fact, Buried Alive was originally bought at the Sundance Film Festival by Lionsgate Pictures for $4 million. After a small-scale screening, it received a box office of $20 million. After the DVD was released, the sales were quite good and made a lot of money. In order to transfer the story to the Chinese background, Xiao Shuai-jun had to restructure the content. Fortunately, the content of the story is not the content, but the connotation, which is not difficult to change. First of all, the place where the story takes place is still somewhere in the desert underground in Iraq, or in a coffin, but the protagonist is renamed Luoshan. Luoshan also called many organizations, most of them were American organizations. After all, at that time the Iraq War had just ended and was taken over by the United States. Finally, the agency that came to the rescue, Xiao Shuai-jun, was changed to a force sent by the Chinese government. It belittles the American imperialism and raises the country, which makes the final review of the film easier. The general story content was quickly completed, and the rest is carving. As a small cost, single role, single scene movie, if you want to not become dull, you must work the details. Xiao Shuai-jun had to scrutinize the highlights of the US version of Buried Alive and modify the various subplots of the Chinese version of Buried Alive. This is a laborious task. Early the next morning, Xiao Shuai-jun was awakened by the ringing of his mobile phone. He changed the script to late night last night and slept late. He was still confused when he answered the phone. Hello, who? Is it Mr. Xiao Shuai-jun? I am director Zhang Yimou's assistant, and my last name is Peng. Hello, Miss Peng. That's it. Director Zhang read the script you handed over yesterday and wants to talk to you in detail. Do you have time to come to our crew this morning? Yes, I'll be there right away and will be there in 30 minutes. Okay, I will pick you up outside the crew. After hanging up the phone, Xiao Shuai-jun washed his face and brushed his teeth. He bought an early meal on the street and hurried to the crew of Ambush on 10 Sides. Under the leadership of Ms. Peng, I came to the crew's studio and met the well-known director Zhang Yimou. As the banner figure of the fifth generation of directors, Zhang Yimou has been very popular in the past 2 years. A hero opened the era of domestic blockbusters. Together with this recent most popular and anticipated Ambush on 10 Sides, it tops all mainland directors. Zhang Yimou was shocked when he saw Xiao Shuai-jun. He thought that the person who could write The Love of Hawthorn Tree was at least 30 or 40 years old, but he did not expect that he was a young man. You really wrote this script? Zhang Yimou couldn't believe it. Xiao Shuai-jun nodded, of course. Facing the big director, he was not cramped. Although he was not famous in his previous life, he had also drank and ate with many big directors. The entertainment circle says that the big is big, the small is also very small, the mix is longer, and the people of all kinds are more knowledgeable. The big stars and the small actors are all humans, and there is no difference. This composure made Zhang Yimou look at it twice. It's not easy. Are you 18 years old this year? Just turned 18. Tisk tusk, tell me why I remember writing such a story. The story originated from an elder I knew, and I wrote it on a whim. In order to restore the background of that era, I also specifically consulted many older generations. Director Zhang, what do you think of this script? Xiao Shuai-jun edited it. Excuses. I'll just say it straight. I like the script very much. I plan to buy it, but I will not shoot it now. This year I already have a plan to make a film. It is also a literary film. You write the script and you definitely don't want to be buried. I will definitely shoot. But it will be delayed for a few years. I will make up for the price. How much do you plan to price? Xiao Shuai-jun knows that Zhang Yimou will be shooting 1,000 miles of riding alone this year, and he doesn't care whether the Hawthorn Tree Love is being filmed or not. As for the script Swezang, in 2006, Amy published the original work. What should I do if the two conflicts? Xiao Shuai-jun wanted to come. Amy only started to write novels in 2005. I can wait to make money later, find the door to go to solve the problem, and kill Li Gui hit Li Kuei. Case. I'm just a newcomer. I don't understand the rules of the industry very well. Zhang, please set a price. Xiao Shuai-jun kicked the ball back. A well-known director like Zhang Yimou will not blackmail him. Zhang Yimou thought for a while. Well, how about it, a price of 150,000 yuan. 150,000 is much better than Xiao Shuai-jun imagined. According to the current script price on the market, 100,000 is basically the capped price. The extra 50,000 should be moved by the script. After all, Zhang Yimou himself was from that era, otherwise he would not rush to make the Hawthorn Tree Love with others. Row. It was almost noon when signing a contract, taking money and transferring money. Zhang Yimou planned to invite Xiao Shuai-jun to have a meal. Xiao Shuai-jun declined to decline. Drinking and eating is one of his worst things, especially with some unfamiliar people. After returning to the rental house, Xiao Shuai-jun buried himself in the script creation. It took 3 days to finally sort out the sub-scene script, and then wrote the actor script. The actor script, as the name suggests, is a script for actors. There are only 2 characters who show up and talk, the protagonist and the woman in the mobile video. But the person the protagonist calls has many lines of dialogue. It took another day to incorporate props, equipment, lighting, scenes, etc. into the script. Buried Alive is officially launched, and it's time to find the protagonist. The protagonist of the American version of Buried Alive is Hollywood's popular movie star Ryan Reynolds, and the remuneration alone is as high as $2 million. However, Xiao Shuai-jun felt that he did not help the film much. This kind of film does not rely on attracting eyeballs to win. The connotation is on the one hand, and the acting skills of the actors are also on the other. Just find someone who can act and has no reputation. There are many such people in Hengdian. As an extra actor wandering in Hengdian, Xiao Shuai-jun has experienced more than half a year and got to know a lot of Heng Piao. After renting 2 high-definition DV cameras from a photographic equipment rental shop, Xiao Shuai-jun went to the other end of the village head and found Lu Sangzi. Lu Sangzi is a group leader, and the group leader is the leader of the extras. With dreams in mind, many people plunged into Hengdian, hoping to be selected by a major director, and soaring into the sky. I didn't know until Hengdian that things were different from what I had imagined. The extras here are strictly hierarchical, and they are not allowed to fly into the sky. The director needs actors and will find them through the group head, and the group head will release to the group performer under his hand. There are also 4 levels of group performances. Ordinary extras are 50 yuan a day, special actors are 80 yuan a day, special actors are 150 yuan a day, and peripheral martial arts are 200 yuan a day. Xiao Shuai-jun is currently the lowest level extra actor, and his previous acting career has always been a special actor, and then switched to field duties. Lu Sangzi happened to be at home, and when he saw Xiao Shuai-jun, he yelled, "Where is your boy dead these days? Several crews are looking for group performances. I don't have enough staff. Why don't you come and don't want to make money?" He is Hengdian. The locals received a demolition fee after building the film and television city. They stopped farming, and his wife opened a small shop. He led people to perform in a group. He belonged to a group and gathered dozens of group performances under his hands. Brother XI, I have changed career. Xiao Shuai-jun smiled. He still respects Lu Sangzi. The group leader is not a pleasing identity, especially many group leaders like to deduct the group performance's salary, and even beat and scold the group performance at every turn, ruining a lot of dreams. Although Lu Sangzi also likes to take advantage of the small gains, but his opponents are still kind, like when Xiao Shuai-jun first came, he didn't know anyone and couldn't find a job. Lu Sangzi took in. What can you do? I'm going to be a director, I will ask you to borrow some actors to audition today. Your kid didn't take the wrong medicine, right? You have a fever? You are a director. Unless Brother Xi and I start a film company, the old ghost will invest in you. Don't blow it up, I really plan to be a director. You don't know. Recently I wrote a script and was caught by director Zhang Yumu. I bought it for $100,000. With money, of course I have to make a movie myself. Really? Okay, you kid, director Zhang has taken a look at the script you wrote, oh hello, okay. But you are sure that you can't afford the film for 100 omnipotent movies? Lu Sangzi with a cigarette in his mouth, he was dubious. Don't worry about it. I don't need film for DV, so I quickly inform Anan, Sishui, Zebra, to come and audition. My film is very simple, I can finish it in 1 week, and I will pay 5,000 yuan for the film. The audition, regardless of whether it is successful or not, can get a 100 yuan subsidy. Xiao Shuai-jun waved his hand, feeling that he is a director, his confidence is different. If you are not afraid to pay, I'll call someone to you. Lu Sangzi suddenly rubbed his palms, but what kind of actor do you look for in this movie? See if Brother Xi is qualified enough. Brother Xi, I have been mixed for more than 3 years anyhow, and my acting skills have nothing to say. I heard that there was a 100 yuan subsidy, and it was still the protagonist of the audition movie. Anan and the others didn't care about the truth or not, and ran over after receiving a call from Lu Sangzi. Counting Lu Sangzi, a total of 7 people squeezed into Xiao Shuai-jun's rental house. These people are all Xiao Shuai-jun's group performances based on his own impression of later generations. The star can't afford it, so I can only make up the number with group performance. 10 minutes for you. Imagine you are in a coffin. You can't see your fingers and no one responds. The space is narrow and breathing is difficult. What kind of reaction should you have in this situation? After the request, Xiao Shuai-jun began to play around. Rented video camera. The film's director, screenwriter, lighting engineer, photographer, prop artist, and electrician will all be concurrently assumed by him. Others only need to ask a makeup artist to make up the protagonist. The first audition was Anan. The camera was aimed, and Anan's body immediately stiffened, breathing quickly, and covering his neck with his hands with his mouth open. Ka. Anan, you have to know that although you are locked in a coffin, no one throws gas bombs in it. Okay, next one. The second audition was Sishui. Sishui learned from Anan, staring pretendingly, as if he was very scared, and opened his mouth to shout a few times. Ka. Although you are very scared, please be more dedicated. I am not acting in a stage play in a movie here. Can my expression be a little bit convergent? Are you seeing a ghost or being caught in an evil? Next. 6 people in a row did not perform well in front of the camera, and only Lu Sangzi was left. Brother Hai, try to behave naturally, it's up to you to be the last one. Can you wait? I'm a little nervous. Oh hey, forget it, Brother Xi, I can't perform. Lu Sangzi was directly discouraged under Xiao Shuai-jun's professional aura. Xiao Shuai-jun grabbed his hair in distress and took out 700 yuan to send away the unfavorable group performance. In his memory, Anan were all later well-known supporting roles. Their acting skills were nothing to say, and they appeared in many movies and TV series. But now it seems that they are still too young to show the atmosphere that attracts people to watch. This is a one-man show, without the atmosphere, it will fall into dullness. What should I do? I only have 150,000. I cut the cost. What kind of actors can I hire for 100,000 yuan? The status of mainland actors has always been high, their acting skills are not good, and the pay is outrageous. Hong Kong has a lot of low pay for acting. Okay, but I can't go to Hong Kong to find an actor, right? Dreams are full, reality is skinny. Xiao Shuai-jun suddenly agreed with this statement. It is 2004, not the future. You can use investors' money to cast a net to pick stars. Looking at the bitter face in the mirror, Xiao Shuai-jun shook his head in annoyance. At the moment when he shook his head, a flash of inspiration, Xiao Shuai-jun felt that his face, although the expression on his face, was green, but his eyes revealed a sense of trepidation, and it actually matched the memory of the Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds later played the Green Lantern. Xiao's expression is very consistent. Yeah, others can't do it, I can do it myself. I have seen the original movie, and I have been honed on the set over the years, and my acting skills are not bad. With a little makeup and these eyes, I may be able to grasp the charm. Just do it when he thinks of it. Xiao Shuai-jun turned on the camera, came to the camera, and took a deep breath. He began to imagine that he was the kidnapped driver. In the deep and narrow coffin, despair and fear were added. The original lens appeared in my mind, superimposed with my previous life experience of ups and downs in the entertainment industry. My body began to tremble slowly. 10 minutes later, Xiao Shuai-jun walked out of the immersive atmosphere and called up the camera picture. On the screen, Xiao Shuai-jun beats in fear, trying to find a way out, but can't find a way out at all. He can only grope in the narrow coffin. The expression on his face is helpless, frightened, excited, and aggrieved. This is the effect. Xiao Shuai-jun clenched his fist secretly. Buried Alive itself is about a lonely social relationship, which is essentially similar to Xiao Shuai-jun's previous life experience. He easily grasped this feeling, and the atmosphere was quite good. Well, I'm the lead actor. Well, this face is still too immature. I have to find a better makeup artist. A makeup artist, you can hire a senior makeup artist for 10,000 yuan. The porter has to find at least 3 people, and the assistant cameraman has to hire 1. The woman in the mobile phone video and the 2 faceless kidnappers, it's 3 people. Anan and Brother Xi can be hired as porters, and they can also serve as kidnappers. It can be done for 100 yuan a day, and Brother Xi's wife can act as a woman. After writing and drawing on paper, all the regulations were set, and Xiao Shuai-jun began to formally prepare the crew. Anan, Sishui, and Zebra were called into the crew as porters, 100 per person a day, and 1 meal. Brother Xi is the head of the group and was recruited into the crew as an assistant director, responsible for contacting the venue and renting equipment, 300 a day. Brother Xi's wife, Sister Lu, only needs to act for 1 day, for $150. The makeup artist is Li Yuan, who is the makeup artist of the crew of The Prodigal Yanking filming in Hengdian. The extra actors that the Prodigal Yanking crew seeks are provided by XIGE, so XIGE knows him. He is also willing to take this private job, but the asking price is 15,000, so he can only take the time to fix the makeup and give it to his apprentice, a little girl named Su Hui. Li Yuan's makeup skills are very good. Xiao Shuai-jun agreed to an offer of 15,000 and also paid Su Hui 115 a day. As for cosmetics, Li Yuan is responsible for providing them. As the assistant cameraman, Zhao Biyang from the crew of The Prodigal Son Yanking is also invited. Like Su Hui, Zhao Biyang is the apprentice of the authentic cameraman Ziok. Although he has no experience, he is still very skilled with cameras and cameras. The asking price is not high, 200 yuan a day, whatever it takes. The props to be used in the movie, in addition to 2 high-definition DV cameras, there are also a few imitation Zippo lighters, a large screen copycat, a knife and a pen, a few glow sticks, a few flashlights, and an iron box, the hip flask, which cost nearly 1,000 yuan in total. The camera has to be calculated separately, and the rental fee is 200 a day. Radio, lighting equipment, etc., also vary from 100 to 200 a day. The venue was provided by Brother Xi for free, and he bought a cart of sand for 200 yuan. Adding custom-made coffin props and other small equipment, more than 1,000 went out again. In addition to the processing fee for approval, the initial expenses will cost nearly 18,000. The daily salary of 950 yuan, the rental fee of 850 yuan, and the food expenses of more than 200 yuan are necessary. Lin Lin finally concluded that Xiao Shuai-jun must ensure that the filming is completed within a week before he can take all the filming according to his budget and 50,000 yuan. Of course, the cost of post-production should be ignored, because Xiao Shuai-jun can do the post-production soundtrack, subtitles, dubbing, and cutting at no cost. In this way, there will still be 100,000 yuan as a public relations fee to raise the price of Buried Alive. Xiao Shuai-jun's expectation is to sell the distribution rights of the film to the film company and buy it out at once. Strive for millions of soft sister coins and restart the shooting of the next movie. On March 28, 2004, at Lu Sangzi's home, a timber coffin was piled with sand. All units are ready for lighting and sound. Li Yuan has already painted Xiao Shuai-jun's makeup, with stubble on his face and slightly dark complexion. He is simply a middle-aged uncle. Anan, close the door. Sishui and Zebra took the left side of the coffin away. Xiao Shuai-jun danced for a while, got into the timber coffin, and turned his head to his side. Zhao Biyang, the camera is focused, and Su Hui will help with the microphone. Hi. Brother prepares the black cloth and turns off the lights. The first scene, start. The lights went out. There was darkness in front of the camera, and darkness in the coffin. Xiao Shuai-jun let out a dull and rapid breathing, followed by several shouts of hello. After a while, I lit the prepared imitation Zippo lighter. With the light of the lighter, Xiao Shuai-jun's face jumped into the lens. Card. After a plot was over, Xiao Shuai-jun immediately got out of the coffin and came to the back of the camera, facing the monitor, playing back the scene just now. Touching his chin, Xiao Shuai-jun narrowed his eyes slightly. How about it, Jun? You are really photogenic. Zhao Biyang said with a smile. No, my expression was a bit stiff just now, as if the makeup was too thick. Su Hui, come over and help me wipe it off a little bit, spread it evenly, and I will see the effect again. Okay. After changing the makeup, the scene of this scene was much smoother. Xiao Shuai-jun carefully compared the American version of Buried Alive in his mind and thought it was okay. Start the next shot. There is only one scene in Buried Alive. Although Xiao Shuai-jun's performance is not as good as Ryan, he is also relaxed and able to cope with it. After 3 days, the crew passed the running-in phase, and the progress began to accelerate. Often, one shot was taken only once, and everyone was amazed. Xiao Shuai-jun was simply a veteran acting. Indeed, he has practiced for nearly a decade more than others, and he has seen the original shots, and he is still unable to act well. That is a problem. Anan, dim the lights. Sishui, you go to the left and hold the rope. Xi brothers go to the right and hold it. Zhao Bian, you push the camera up. Remember, you have to go back slowly counterclockwise, focusing on my face. Okay, let's start. In the scene, Luo Shan sent out the video of cutting his fingers. After making a call, he placed the phone next to his head, staring at the void with his eyes blankly, mourning harder than death. In conjunction with the shots posted by the vision, it deeply portrays Luo Shan's mood at this moment, sinking into the abyss bit by bit. Xiao Shuai-jun opened his mouth slightly, and half of his face was reflected by the dim light of the lighter, and his mood was completely immersed in Luo Shan's loss. His eyes were empty, like being drunk when he was changed director, and the loss was deep into his bones. Card. Perfect. 30 seconds later, Zhao Biyang shouted. 5 days later, the last scene was filmed. This scene was a scene where the protagonist Luo Shan was buried alive after the coffin was broken and sand poured in. Xiao Shuai-jun did not lie down, but asked Anan to go in and lie down. He directed Sishui, Zebra, and Zij to pour sand inside. Then he personally controlled the camera and pushed it slowly until the sand filled the coffin and the camera went dark suddenly. I announced that Buried Alive is over. Oh! Everyone hugged each other and cheered, and within 5 days, one movie was finished. Although simple and the shooting scenes are boring, the excitement of everyone is unimaginable. Because everyone is a rookie, Anan, Sishui, and Zebra were all dragons before, dead bodies or groups of soldiers, and they couldn't even show the front. Although Brother Xi was a group leader, he also had no chance to show his face. This time I didn't show my face either, but I really participated in the shooting of a movie, from beginning to end, completely participating. This kind of excitement is beyond words. Zhao Biyang and Su Hui also exclaimed in excitement. They are young people who are apprentices in the TV crew, but now they are participating in a movie, and they have completed the photography and makeup, regardless of whether the movie is successful or not. This experience it is precious and unforgettable. Xiao Shuai-jun also applauded. He didn't react so much. He was still a little excited. Past and present, this is the first real director's work. Looking at the camera, the last flash of the flashlight went out, but his mind drifted to his previous life. If it weren't for Deng Tian Entertainment's play, then he might be shooting his first movie. Put away your emotions and smile. Well, now that I'm reborn, live smartly and make movies smartly. After the dinner, the salary was paid, the equipment was returned, and the crew members were sent away. Xiao Shuai-jun returned home alone with a bunch of copies. These copies are still rough, requiring editing, dubbing and subtitles. In Hengdian, there is a special post-production company that does the finishing touches. Buried Alive is not a blockbuster film, not a horror film, or a science fiction film, and does not require too fine vocal effects. It only took 2 days and more than 5,000 pieces of ocean to go down, and a finished film was born. Holding this movie, Xiao Shuai-jun began to look for a buyer. In my memory, there are not many film distribution companies in the mainland. The big ones like China Film, Shanghai Film Oriental, China, Bona, and Huai Brothers all have strong public relations methods, but relatively, there are too many independent films in line on site. These distribution companies will also be more demanding on the requirements of the film. Smaller publishing companies include New Images by Zhang Weiping and Zhang Yumu, as well as FJ Henjai, B City Star Beauty, Forbidden City Triple, Light Film, Pony Pony, and Earth Communication. They are still in their infancy in China. However, some large companies have not even begun to get involved in the issuance. The several films that Xiao Shuai-jun has mixed in the previous life are basically all invested and released by Deng Tian Entertainment. He is familiar with the door and knows the internal doorways of Deng Tian Entertainment. Although Deng Tian Entertainment eventually robbed him of his directorship, this is the entertainment industry, the weak and the strong, there is nothing to complain about. Deng Tian Entertainment is still the best choice to maximize the benefits of Buried Alive. Unfortunately, Deng Tian Entertainment will not be established until next year. The two state-owned Big Mac film distribution companies, China Film and Shanghai Film Oriental, sound daunting. Huaxia is even more impressive. 19 domestic state-owned film units jointly participate in shares, so the qualifications are not too high. The new screen is only responsible for Zhang Yumu's films, SME focuses on theaters, Sanlian Films focuses on the distribution of TV series, and Guangxi Films, Pony Pentium and Land Communication have not yet entered the door. The best choices are Bona and Huai, but Xiao Shuai-jun dimly remembers that Huai only started to get involved in film distribution in the second half of this year. Bona is a good place. Xiao Shuai-jun believes that the quality of Buried Alive can impress the publisher, but it is difficult to get too many discounts on the price. In addition to Bona, FJ Henjai is also Xiao Shuai-jun's ideal choice. The current Henjai has not yet been established, but simply buys films for the distribution of second and third tier theaters, but its founder, Chen Hui, is a courageous filmmaker. Because Henjai has a resounding nickname in later generations, it is called Lion's Gate of China. It made a fortune with small-cost horror films and focused on the field of genre films. It was quite successful. Bona and Hui are in City B, and Xiao Shuai-jun's first stop is to go north. As a filmmaker in my previous life, I am naturally familiar with the addresses of the two companies. However, the changes in City B 10 years ago and City B 10 years later are really big. After many setbacks, I came to Bona Pictures. The correct name of Bona at this time should be Poly Bona. In 2003, Poly Group acquired Bona Culture and established Poly Bona Film Distribution Company to get involved in the field of film distribution. The lady at the front desk of the company called the issuing department in her puzzled eyes. "Hey, is it Mr. Yu?" "That's it, here is Mr. Xiao, who brings a movie and seeks to release." "Okay, I will invite him in." After hanging up the phone, the lady at the front desk looked at Xiao Shuai-jun deeply. "You really made a movie? You are too young, don't you want me to be scolded by the boss?" "Haha, don't worry." Xiao Shuai-jun gave a dry laugh. He has just turned 18 this year. It is indeed unreasonable to be young. In the film industry, a 30-year-old director can be amazing. The office address of Poly Bona Company is a separate floor. The decoration is very exquisite and elegant. It has the style of a large company. It is worthy of being one of the giants in the future, and it is domineering. In the general manager's office, Xiao Shuai-jun met Yu Dong, the president of Poly Bona, who was 28 and slightly fat, and seemed harmless to humans and animals. "Mr. Yu, this is Mr. Xiao Shuai-jun." Yu Dong frowned subconsciously and glanced at the front desk. "You go down first." Then he turned to Xiao Shuai-jun and said, "Please sit down, Xiao Shuai-jun, right? You are very young. Why do you have an idea to make a movie?" "What movie?" Knowing his age is hard to win people's trust, Xiao Shuai-jun is not nonsense, and directly took out a copy of the movie from his bag. "Zone Yu, can I play the movie first?" There is a movie projector in the office, and Yu Dong nodded his head unceasingly. Although Bona is escorted by a state-owned enterprise giant like Poly Group, it has expanded in the film field in a short time, but compared with the established film companies such as China Film and Shanghai Film, it is still far behind and cannot get too many movies. Distribution rights. Since someone comes to the door, no matter whether it is good or bad, 1 or 2 hours can be wasted. Making a movie? Young people are so lofty, they don't know how high the sky is, and they will have to criticize it later. Yu Dong thought in his heart. The movie started very quickly. At first there was a long black screen, with only heavy breathing and friction, indicating that the movie was being shown. "What's the matter, the picture?" Yu Dong's face sank. Xiao Shuai-jun waved his hand. "President Yu, please watch it slowly." Soon, the sound of the lighter came, and a picture flashed past, revealing a face, and then it went dark again, back and forth several times. Finally the picture completely appeared. A person lay in the coffin, holding a lighter around looking for a way out for lighting. Yu Dong's dissatisfied expression gradually recovered, and he began to concentrate on watching movies. After 90 minutes, the movie ends. Xiao Shuai-jun looked at Yu Dong, feeling a little nervous. "It's kind of interesting, a one-man show, the shooting angle is very novel." Yu Dong touched his chin. "You really did it." "Yes, I am the screenwriter, director, starring role, and producer." "What does you always think of this Buried Alive, can it still be in your eyes?" After pondering for a while, Yu Dong said, "This movie is very creative and unique in shooting techniques. It challenges the limits of claustrophobic movies. It has a strong irony and is a good film. However, the excessively single movie scene makes the whole plot look like it's boring. It's hard to get any good box office for such a film. I think it is of great commercial value. A single role and a single scene have a big gimmick. The plot is dull but not mediocre. The connotation is very deep. Although it does not meet the taste of the public, it attracts audiences who like this type. I'm tired of watching blockbusters, and occasionally changing the taste is also a good choice. What does you always think? It makes sense, but the domestic film market is still in its infancy, and its capacity is not large. With the addition of niche tastes, it is still difficult to break through and get a good box office. It's impossible to have a high box office. 5 million or so shouldn't be a problem, right? This kind of film, besides the box office, the DVD release is the big one, right? Domestic piracy is rampant, and DVDs are not big. Not at home, what about abroad? Polybona wants to be bigger. You can't just stare at blockbusters and literary films. You have to try all kinds of movies. Buried Alive may not be a big hit at home, but when you go abroad, Shangdan at the Sri Lanka Film Festival, this kind of film is the most favored. Once it gains a good reputation, it will not bring a small amount of benefit. Just a reputation can be earned. It's a failure, and you don't get a good reputation. Foreign countries are not domestic. Why should foreigners pay for it? Hehe, everything is risky. If you only make a profit without losing money, it's not that I came to find Mr. Yu, but Mr. Yu should find me. Yu Dong narrowed his eyes slightly, and asked softly, how much do you want, divided or bought out? Buy it, how much does you think Buried Alive is worth? Yu Dong tapped his finger on the desktop and smiled. To release such a low-profile niche movie, it takes a lot of risk, so it can be regarded as an encouragement to newcomers. It costs 700,000 yuan to buy out Buried Alive. All copyrights of. The price is too low. Xiao Shuai-jun frowned, and his tone was a little rushing. Zhong Yu, I don't think there is any need to talk about this price. You don't respect me at all, and you don't respect my movies. Young man, don't think about making it to the sky in one step. I have been studying movies for years. The potential of Buried Alive is worth this price at most. 700,000 is a lot. In this film, the cost can exceed 10,000 yuan is worth the sky, 7 times the income. You should be content. Haha, Mr. Yu, I think I should say goodbye. 700,000, if it is only worth 700,000, why should Xiao Shuai-jun make this movie? There are not a few low-cost movies that have a big box office. I chose Buried Alive because it is simple enough and the income is good. Now Yu Dong's 700,000 yuan is simply bullying. You have to think about it clearly. State-owned film companies have a fixed distribution relationship. A small movie with no clear market prospects will never be seen by state-owned units. The distribution rights for domestic films are limited to 7 private films. The company took it down, and the only one who really started to issue was Polybona. It's not that easy to get out of this door and then want to walk in again. Xiao Shuai-jun left in stride without looking back. If it is a newcomer, Yu Dong's words are quite lethal. In June last year, the State Administration of Radio, Film and Television issued 7 domestic distribution licenses to private enterprises, including Bona, New Picture, Palmador, Yamato, Ing, Alliance Entertainment, and Huai Audio Visual. Except for these 7 companies, they can only issue rights as agents, but cannot issue independently. But Xiao Shuai-jun has been immersed in this industry for nearly 10 years. He is very clear about the corners. There are policies and countermeasures, and he can still distribute without the qualifications. As long as the relationship is linked to the state-owned film distribution company. This is how Chen Hui of Fujian Henjai did it, and he did it before the New Picture. Despising Yu Dong, Xiao Shuai-jun went straight to Huai brothers. Huai is very close to Bona, both in Chaoyang. At present, Huai is mainly engaged in film and television investment and brokerage business. It has also distributed several movies before. For example, last year's Mobile set a box office miracle of 53 million yuan. Heroes of Heaven and Earth is also the annual box office runner-up. Xiao Shuai-jun also knows that A World Without Thieves, which will be released this year, is another box office miracle and a huge profit. The two heads, Wang Zongjun and Wang Zonglei, who did not see the Huai brothers, received Xiao Shuai-jun, a small middle-aged man named Zhao Cheng, who was responsible for film distribution. After watching the movie, Zhao Cheng did not directly agree to Xiao Shuai-jun whether to buy it. Instead, he made a phone call and said, "It's like this. I personally think your movie is pretty good, but it needs the boss's review here. The boss is on a business trip in Hengdian, and may have to wait until the day after tomorrow. You go back first, and when the boss comes back, I will notify you, okay?" After leaving Huai brothers, Xiao Shuai-jun had nowhere to go, so he stayed in a small hotel in the suburbs. I took out the paper and pen in the bag and started to think about my next movie. Still focusing on small costs, but this time the main focus is on domestically produced movies. Xiao Shuai-jun's ideal price for Buried Alive is 3 million to 5 million. With these as investment, there are not many movies that can be shot. Only Nightclub and Crazy Stone are the most suitable. Of course, Xiao Shuai-jun also knows a lot of future low-cost and high box office movies, but they are not suitable for China and rely heavily on propaganda methods. It is precisely in propaganda methods that Xiao Shuai-jun is very bad at. The reputation of Night Shop is not very good, so choose Crazy Stone. After making up his mind, Xiao Shuai-jun began to write the script. 2 days later, the script was half completed, and Huai brothers called. This time I met Xiao Shuai-jun with Wang Zonglei, the younger brother of the second king. Wang Zonglei, who is 34 years old this year, looks quite handsome and graceful. Wang Zonglei speaks very friendly, and there is no feeling of domineering. After watching the movie, Wang Zonglei clapped his hands and said directly, "The movie is very good. We will release this movie by Huai Club. Xiao Shuai-jun, I call you Xiao Xiao, you make a price. Buyout, 5 million. Xiao Shuai-jun directly said the ideal price in his heart. I thought Wang Zonglei would bargain, but who knew he just pondered for a little while and laughed. 5 million to buy out all the copyright of Buried Alive, I can agree. However, compared to the movie Buried Alive, I am more optimistic. Xiao Xiao, how are you? Do you want to come to Huai brothers? What does Mr. Wang mean? I'm very optimistic about Xiao Xiao's director ability and acting ability. I want to sign a contract with you to become an artist under Huai brothers. We Huai brothers have been preparing to enter the film market recently, but there is only one director, Feng Xiaogang, which is obviously not enough. You talented, capable of directing and acting, and a good image, we will definitely be able to praise you. What, come or not? Sign me? Xiao Shuai-jun was confused for a while, feeling that Wang Zonglei's thinking was really too active, and his eyes were sharp. Although Buried Alive is a small production, it can better show one's director ability and acting skills. Bona is also an agent business, but Yu Dong has not discovered the potential of Xiao Shuai-jun, which is not comparable to Wang Zonglei. If it were a past life, Xiao Shuai-jun would be excited and unable to sleep if he had this opportunity, but now, he just wants to concentrate on being a director and enjoy life instead of being enjoyed by life. I'm sorry, Mr. Wang, I'm used to being free and I haven't thought about being an actor. I just want to concentrate on making movies that I like. I'm sorry. Xiao Xiao doesn't want to be a star. I don't like Flash very much, just be a director. Wang Zonglei thought for a while. After signing a contract with Huai brothers, we can continue to direct. Our company invests in shooting a lot of movies every year, and the distribution channels are smooth, and the choice of its artists is also convenient. In China, the risk of independent production of a movie is huge, and a person's energy is limited, and everything needs to be managed manually. What do you think? But Xiao Shuai-jun is a little embarrassed. There are many benefits of relying on large companies, but there are more constraints. Xiao Shuai-jun knew that his temper was not smooth and his temper was not good, and he was afraid that his previous life would repeat the same mistakes. Just mention any concerns. As long as you come and can be resolved, I will help resolve them. Wang Zonglei is very enthusiastic. It can be said that he is thirsty for talents. Xiao Shuai-jun can't help but feel emotional. It is no wonder that the Huai brothers of later generations have grown bigger and bigger, and have survived several crises and have become the ranks of film giants. With such leadership, it is difficult for a company to grow. Sighed. I'll be straightforward. The reason why I don't want to sign a contract is because I'm afraid of the company's constraints. I'm not sure about the handling of interpersonal relationships. I make movies independently, from shooting direction to casting and selecting the scene. This is the state I want. The last chapter has been reviewed and related to sensitive words, so please comment here. From now on, Beijing is our capital, Magic Capital is the sea, and other cities and provinces are written in letters mainly code name. All the famous celebrities have their names changed by one word. Thank you for your support, let the collection and recommendation come more intense. Speaking of this, Wang Zonglei shrugged, obviously unable to meet Xiao Shuai-jun's request. Huai Brothers invests in filming. There are many aspects that need to be considered, and it is impossible to follow the director's will. Moreover, Xiao Shuai-jun is just a pink and tender newcomer. Feng Xiaogang is big enough, in casting, except for one or two protagonists, other roles are not arranged by Huai Brothers. Xiao Xiao is very personal, okay, 5 million to buy out all copyrights of Buried Alive, everyone makes friends. If you figure it out in the future, we Huai Brothers, please feel free to welcome such talented talents as Xiao Xiao to join. Xiao Shuai-jun shook his hand and nodded and said, Mr. Wang can afford to see me. The next movie is finished, and I'm going to trouble Mr. Wang to release it. Welcome. Buried Alive was finally sold at a price of 5 million before tax. After the transfer, the invoice was invoiced for 2 million, saving hundreds of thousands of taxes and getting a total of 4.58 million. Large companies have formed professional tax evasion methods for taxation. Xiao Shuai-jun is not so stupid that he does not agree. Hello, me, good things, everyone, just keep it in mind. Xiao Shuai-jun was very satisfied when he got the money and got involved with Wang Zonglei. As for the rest for review, copying, distribution, arranging theaters, and even making DVDs and sending them to the film festival, there is no need to care. Of course, when the contract was signed, it was stipulated that once Buried Alive was awarded, Xiao Shuai-jun, as the main creative staff, had to attend the event. Xiao Shuai-jun hates showing up under the flashlight now. I didn't want to agree to this one. But think about it. Although the previous Buried Alive was very popular at the Sundance Film Festival and the evaluation was good, he didn't win any awards. He signed it again. What's wrong? Putting aside Buried Alive, Xiao Shuai-jun set his sights on Crazy Stone again. However, before the preparations, Xiao Shuai-jun was going to go home first. Near nostalgia. Xiao Shuai-jun suddenly became nervous when he got off the train and changed to the passenger car, got off the passenger car, and walked on the cement road in his hometown. Speaking of, he has not returned home since he failed the exam in this life, and in the previous life, he has not returned home for more than a year. Since he took the path of the entertainment industry, his relationship with his family has not been very good. The entertainment circle is very busy, especially for someone who is not in position, he must seize the opportunity at all times. If he is not paying attention, he may be robbed of his job by others. During the holidays and festivals, when someone else leaves, he still has to stay to take care of the crew, otherwise the position of deputy director will not be kept. Filming worked hard but couldn't make money. The boss was so young that he didn't even get a target. The family has always opposed him to continue this way. But when he felt that his family did not support him, he felt angry in his stomach. In the second, he didn't show up, and in the third, he didn't have time. For nearly 10 years, he went home no more than 10 times, and he left without staying for 2 or 3 days. Especially that year, Dad had liver cirrhosis, and he was busy filming, and he never went back to take a look. After half a year, my father was discharged from the hospital, and Xiao Shuai-jun returned home. My mother threw all the things he bought outside on the road, denying his son, and did not give him a bite of food. That night, Xiao Shuai-jun sat on the side of the road outside, sitting until midnight, smoking 3.5 packs of cigarettes. At midnight, the skinny father brought him a bowl of noodles. It is hard for Xiao Shuai-jun to imagine that no matter how much wronged he was outside, he had never cried. He cried that night, and couldn't stop his tears. The next day, I left 70,000 yuan for my family, with my pockets empty, and rushed to Hongdian to film. It lasted more than a year, until there was a car accident. Call. With a lot of thoughts and a fast heartbeat, Xiao Shuai-jun let out a long sigh. I didn't succeed in my last life, this life should be considered a success. Dad, Mom, son will continue to succeed, and I owe you in my previous life. His hometown is a dilapidated town, his home is at the fork in the north of the town, on the second floor, it can be regarded as a well-off home. After making a call before, Xiao Shuai-jun soon walked to the door of his house. His mother was wearing an apron, standing at the door waving, smiling very brightly. This is the smile that Xiao Shuai-jun almost forgot in his previous life. The pace was quickened, and the eye sockets had the benefit of warm liquid. Xiao Shuai-jun rushed into his mother's arms fiercely. This kid, what are you doing? I want to strangle my mother to death. Ha ha! Xiao Shuai-jun laughed and tears flowed out. It's the weekend. The parents who are elementary school teachers don't have to attend classes, and the old sister is in college and not at home. At noon, Zhang Luo had a table of dishes, and the three of them ate around the small table. Junzi, how are you doing in Hongdian? Did a director follow you? Mom asked. At this time, although his family was not satisfied that Xiao Shuai-jun didn't go to university and went to Hongdian as an actor, he was not completely disappointed and angry. After all, an actor can stand out even if he succeeds. I changed career. Dad was a little unhappy. How do you change careers, and what are you going to do? No matter what you do, you must have a beginning and an end. You were going to Hongdian at the beginning and couldn't stop it. Now, Dad, I changed my career as a director. What? Director? In the eyes of his parents who couldn't believe it, Xiao Shuai-jun told himself about making a small-cost movie and selling it for 5 million. He also took out the contract with Huai Brothers and the bank account stub. After talking for half an hour, the two came back to their senses and understood that their son had made a lot of money. For their son's success, the two of them were naturally very happy, and all the previous dissatisfaction was gone. The family had a good time. Xiao Shuai-jun stayed at home for a week, rushing to do housework every day, and then visiting relatives and friends. I almost became a lonely person in my previous life, and I must cherish it in this life. This week, Xiao Shuai-jun also perfected the actor's script, director's script, and planning book of Crazy Stone. When his parents saw that Xiao Shuai-jun was anxious to make a movie, he was rushed out. Before going out, Xiao Shuai-jun wanted to leave 1 million to his parents. Parents knew that filming was very expensive and refused to resign. In the end, they couldn't help but left 500,000. Then I went to the provincial capital and met the old sister. The old sister is studying at the University of Finance and Economics and is about to graduate. She is worrying about finding a job. Xiao Shuai-jun was still very afraid of this old sister, and was beaten by the old sister when he was a child. The elder sister's name is Xiao Xiaoling, who studies accounting, and she is very shrewd when she opens an accounting firm in the future. Xiao Shuai-jun not only wants to contact his sister and brother, but also hopes to pull the old sister into his crew and manage the accounts. The total cost of Buried Alive is so small that Xiao Shuai-jun can manage it. Crazy Stone involves several $1 million and must be managed by professional financial personnel. My little brother is promising. They are all big directors. In the Western restaurant, Xiao Shuai-jun invited guests. Xiao Xiaoling looked at him from side to side, and was surprised. When will I arrange a role for the old sister and make the old sister famous? Oh, sister, if you want to act, then join my crew to help me. I am going to start a new movie. The total investment is tentatively set at 3 million. Professional accounting is needed, but I don't have enough manpower. Enter the crew? 3 million? Little brother, the old lady hasn't graduated yet. I'm afraid I'm not sure to manage such a large amount of money. Don't ruin your big business. Xiao Xiaoling is a little worried. Now she is just a rookie. Most of them have been part-time accountants during summer vacation. Xiao Shuai-jun is very confident of the old sister. It doesn't matter, I will find 2 more professional accountants to help, and you will be responsible for supervising the accounting affairs. That works, I will try. Reassured. After chatting with the old sister for a whole day, let her deal with the university affairs temporarily, Xiao Shuai-jun went to the capital. Unlike Buried Alive, the production cost of Crazy Stone involves millions of dollars. The production of this level must first go to the State Administration of Radio, Film, and Television to apply for a shooting license. Xiao Shuai-jun had never been to the State Administration of Radio, Film, and Television, and could not find the doorway inside. Fortunately, he had contact with Zhao Cheng of Huai Brothers before, and Zhao Cheng agreed to accompany Xiao Shuai-jun on a trip. After running to the State Administration of Radio, Film, and Television, Xiao Shuai-jun invited Zhao Cheng to dinner at the Beijing Roast Duck restaurant to express his gratitude. He found a private room and halfway through the dishes, Xiao Shuai-jun took out 20,000 yuan from the bag and handed it over. Brother Zhao, thank you for your help, it's a bit interesting. The entertainment industry is a big dying vat. Although Xiao Shuai-jun didn't mix well in his previous life, the doorway inside is very clear, and there is no help for no reason. Zhao Cheng looked at the 20,000 yuan with a smile, but didn't take it. Xiao Shuai-jun felt a little bit in his heart. It seemed that Zhao Cheng felt that he was giving less, but he just helped run through the procedures. 20,000 yuan was already a high price, and more would be insatiable. Feeling crooked in his heart, Xiao Shuai-jun still put his hand into the bag, ready to make up for 10,000, and the relationship could not be broken. However, Zhao Cheng said at this time, Xiao Xiao, Brother Zhao is actually very optimistic about you. The director of Buried Alive is very high. He is much more talented than the domestic directors who eat and engage in art. If you can you show me the script, and I will give you a hand. Brother Zhao mean. It goes without saying that Xiao Xiao, your talent, among the younger generation, I have never seen such an excellent film being directed by myself. The Sarfeed has approved it, and it has not been cut. The theater line that Mr. Wang personally negotiated. I'm planning to show it at the midnight show, and I've already talked about a lot of theaters. In addition, Mr. Wang also sent Buried Alive to the Magic Capital Film Festival to participate in public relations and strive to win an Asian Newcomer Award. Zhao Cheng complimented him for a while, and then said, Mr. Wang said that he is optimistic about you, and I am even more optimistic about you. However, you are a newcomer, and there are still many troubles to be solved besides making movies. It affects you to devote yourself to the shooting. One hero and 3 gangs, brother Zhao, and I just nominated myself and let you be an outreach. What do you think? Walian is a jargon, which means outreach production. Walian productions are mainly responsible for finding the location and ensuring the use of the location. At the same time, they are responsible for supervising the shooting process during shooting. Many of the productions are also responsible for the rental of the studio. In a certain location, outreach producers are responsible for obtaining permission for filming and filming, contacting and communicating with relevant co-production units, hiring security guards and firefighters, posting road signs and signs, and even helping actors find places to eat. Xiao Shuai-jun squinted his eyes and pondered. If it was a simple outreach producer, Xiao Shuai-jun agreed directly. Zhao Cheng is an insider, and he is more than enough to be an outreach producer. However, Xiao Shuai-jun doesn't think that Zhao Cheng wants the position of Walian producer. Walian producer is in the production team, but the position is not high. If possible, Zhao Cheng would definitely want the position of producer. For a film, a producer has more power than the director. Xiao Shuai-jun would definitely not agree. Without this position, he might as well sign a contract with Huai Brothers. This is testing my tone. Xiao Shuai-jun thought that Zhao Cheng should be using external production to find his tone. If his tone is loose, Zhao Cheng will open his mouth to be a producer. Thinking of this, Xiao Shuai-jun had a plan and spoke slowly. Brother Zhao, I'm not used to circumstance. The producer can only do it by myself. This is the principle. If Brother Zhao doesn't dislike it, I will leave a position as an executive producer. I will not be responsible for filming, but only for outreach. Post-production and marketing, I would like to ask Brother Zhao to do it. This is Xiao Shuai-jun's decision after deep thought. Making a movie is not just talking about it, it involves all aspects. Especially in terms of external contact, film marketing and distribution, and business negotiations, Xiao Shuai-jun is not good at it, so he must seek help from experts in his circle. Zhao Cheng is the head of the distribution department of Huai Brothers. Needless to say, his contacts and relationships are fully competent. Zhao Cheng laughed, "Can I read the script first?" "Of course, but I have always had a question. I just made a super low-cost buried alive. Why do you trust me so much? President Wang even wants to pull me into Huai Brothers. How should I put it? I can infer 1 or 2 from Mr. Wang's consideration. It is nothing more than 2 aspects. First, you are only 18 years old this year, an 18-year-old director, a veritable director, and not touted. This gimmick is worth investing. Second, Huai has been a little bit lately, how can I put it? Anyway, Mr. Wang and the others are in urgent need of training new people, and your talent is what the company needs." Xiao Shuai-jun nodded, somewhat understanding. The 18-year-old director cannot find a second in the country. In fact, a director under the age of 30 is as rare as a panda. After signing Xiao Shuai-jun, this eyeball effect alone can make Huai Brothers a lot of money. Xiao Shuai-jun also guessed some of the reasons why Huai Brothers needed newcomers. At this time, within Huai Brothers, the conflicts between the 2 kings and sister Hua should become increasingly acute. By next year, Huai's biggest celebrity will leave. The leader is Huaja Wang Jinhua, the first agent in the mainland, and now it seems that the second king has begun to make arrangements. Xiao Shuai-jun handed over a full version of the actor's script, and then ate roast duck for himself, while Zhao Cheng looked at the script carefully and laughed from time to time. The paragraphs in Crazy Stone, even if they are put in later generations in 2013, can make people laugh, let alone now. Zhao Cheng watched it twice, and half an hour passed before he put down the script and smiled. "Director Xiao, happy cooperation." Happy cooperation. The intention was reached. In the following time, the 2 people were completely regarded as work, discussing various scenes in the script, which places can be shot in the studio, and which places need to be out. Until the waiter at the roast duck restaurant came to urge them, the two knew that the afternoon had passed without knowing it, and it was almost dark. Ordered a meal again, and the two continued the discussion. Zhao Cheng's business ability is very strong, and his contacts in the circle are also wide. After a long conversation, Xiao Shuai-jun is very satisfied with him as an executive producer. Not only is it possible to share a lot of burdens in business, but a publicity plan was conceived on the spot. Moreover, he was dedicated enough. From the time the two shook hands, he called Xiao Shuai-jun the Xiao director, not Xiao Xiao, and put his posture very low. While waiting for the Sarfeet to review the project, the two began to build a crew. There are 4 steps in the production of a movie: preparation, midterm shooting, post-production and final release. Preliminary preparation is divided into the steps of script, review, project planning, art design, and subplots. The script and subplots of Xiao Shuai-jun have been determined, and the shooting permission is still being approved. The rest is project planning and art design. In terms of art design, an art team needs to be formed, and Zhao Cheng is responsible for the preparation of the art team. The chief artist invited by the art team is Zhang Xiaobing from Huai. Zhang Xiaobing has his own studio. After receiving the invitation from Zhao Cheng, he brought his own team, including assistant artist Li Yanning, art assistant secretary, costume director Zhou Shi, modeling designer Yang Yang, costume assistant Wang Yang, makeup Yang Hong, makeup assistant Xiao Yuer, props Sun Tongshuan, Lu Liguang, Zheng Ping, Lao Ju, prop assistant King Su, Lin Huguang, set the scenery cold and meaningful. Xiao Shuai-jun explained the background of the movie, which is located in Yuzhong County, Shancheng City. The basic style is realistic. After signing the contract and advancing the budget of 500,000 yuan, Zhang Xiaobing took his team and set off to Shancheng City to start the preliminary art design. On the other hand, Xiao Shuai-jun and Zhao Cheng flew to Hengdian, looking for suitable assistant directors, executive directors, and scene notes, and preparing for the director team. Since the establishment of Hengdian, the momentum of development has been great. A large number of crews come to Hengdian to film every year. From the Opium War in 1996 to the end of last year, the published data has received more than 200 crews and a total of 4,000 film and television dramas have been filmed. UG, the crew has increased significantly this year, known as China's Hollywood. In Hengdian, the first person Xiao Shuai-jun looked for was Li Kai, who is also a talented young comedy director in the future. Li Kai initially served as the deputy director of Jing Ke Assassinated the King of Qin directed by Cheng Kaiji, and later as the deputy director of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and has been directing TV series since then, with little reputation. And now, Li Kai has just co-directed the TV series The Joyful Pig Beiji and is doing post-production in Hengdian. One of the associate directors of the original Crazy Stone is Li Kai. Li Kai has been an associate director of blockbuster films and directed TV series himself, which can help Xiao Shuai-jun support the director team. As an assistant director, Xiao Shuai-jun knows best how comfortable it is to have a good assistant director in the director group. As long as the director has ideas, all work can be performed by the deputy director. After receiving a call from Zhao Cheng and reading the script, Li Kai joined the crew without hesitation. Director Xiao, this script is really amazing. It has a strong Guy Ritchie style and incorporates localized elements. I never thought that Director Xiao was able to write such a script at a young age. I am honored to join the crew. Li Kai, there is a circle of mustache, which looks very happy. Director Li has seen big scenes, so he helped me at the helm. I don't dare to be at the helm, hit and hit, hit and hit. With Li Kai, the original character of the original film could not be lost. Later, Xiao Shuai-jun contacted 2 other people. One is called Wang Yuxiu, who also serves as the deputy director, and the other is called Sloppy, who serves as the scene writer. Both Wang Yuxiu and Ma Hu were people whom Xiao Shuijun had known in later generations. They became associate directors with their talents, but they were never qualified as directors. The two of them are still making TV series and doing miscellaneous work. When they heard that the film crew was looking for them, they signed a contract without saying anything. In this way, the director, executive director, deputy director, and scene notes of the director group are all available. At the moment, everyone handled their private affairs well and flew to the mountain city together to discuss the various projects of filming with the art team. Xiao Shuijun called the old sister Xiao Xiaoling by the way, and rushed to the crew to take charge of finances. Since mid-April, Xiao Shuijun has been rushing into the new movie. Selecting the scene, discussing the rental venue, the selection of equipment, the description of the lens, the background research of clothing, language, and actions, etc., a series of questions are oncoming. For the authenticity of the film, first of all, the relationship between Zhao Cheng invited Nortel's associate Professor Wang Hengui as a literary director. Professor Wang led 2 apprentices to participate in the literary planning of the script. The salary is not high. The main reason is that Professor Wang wants to take the time to get around, eat, drink, and live, 1,000 yuan a day, and 2 apprentices 200 a day. It took 7 full days, and the crew was responsible for paying for the 3 people to travel around, nicknamed field trips. It took nearly 20,000 yuan in this area alone, and finally the script's lines and comments were properly modified. The crew then prepares the production crew, the photography crew, and the recording crew. The production team is personally in charge of Xiao Shuijun. The following production director is the old filmmaker Zhang Yu. The on-site production is Geng Hao, a director and professional assistant of the Maishi Film School of Shancheng University, and the outreach producer is Qi Wansheng, who Zhao Cheng finds. Zhang Chao and De Gang, the life producer Wang Jingjing invited from Ying. In addition, from the Maishi Film School of Shancheng University, 3 students Zhang Ting, Wang Zhong, and He Jun were invited as production assistants. Maishi Film School of Yamashiro University is the second film school in China besides Beijing Film. Shancheng University and Hong Kong Maishi Electric Power Group cooperated to create a school of film and television arts. The well-known Zhang Kuilai is the dean, and his teachers are strong. With such a treasure house, Xiao Shuijun naturally wants to make good use of it. There are only 3 people in the drama team. The drama director Zhang Zhigang, a part-time assistant director, is a professional lecturer in drama at Maishi Academy. The dramatists Ma Ning and Wu Haiqiang are his students. The photography team is also under the supervision of Xiao Shuijun. The photographer is Shi Sheng, the deputy photographer is Ji Wanhan, the still photographer and documentary is Zhang Teng, and the photography assistant Ma Meng. The lighting engineer is Wang Hunzi, and the lighting assistants Chen Yonghao, Zhu Jianzhong, Zhu Yanlin, and Dong Zilet. In the recording group, the recording engineer is Wang Yanwei, and the recording assistants Gao Qiudong, Su Yuan, and Qi Jun. Most of these people were invited from Maishi Academy, and some were recruited from local theatre troupes. The wages were not high, but the skills were very good. There are also fighting scenes in the movie. I have contacted the local Hoxiang Film and Television Special Skills School. The principal, Yang Hoxiang, was a famous martial arts actor back then, and led a group of students in charge of martial arts design. At the same time, Zhao Cheng also flew to Hong Kong, preparing to contact Luo Lixian and his Raptors aerobatic team. Luo Lixian is well known in the stunt world. He became a black belt champion in Taekwondo at the age of 18. He served as a stunt director or director for blockbuster films such as Blood 2 Heroes and Plan B. He has cooperated most with Cheng Long's marrying class. A few days later, Zhao Cheng flew back, and Luo Lixian did not agree to come, but a few heads of the Raptors stunt team came. At the same time, there was a big star Lian Wujian. Lian Wujian is an artist under ATV, and his reputation is not weak, but ATV's production has been reduced in recent years. Lien Wujian has not been filming TV series for more than a year, and only played a few insignificant supporting roles on the big screen. Originally, he would not move to the mainland until 2005 to join Crazy Stone. Xiao Shuai-jun mentioned it and asked Zhao Cheng to ask if Lien Wujian would like to come to the mainland. Unexpectedly, Lien Wujian agreed. Xiao Shuai-jun was very happy. After all, the original version of Mike, the thief played by Wujian Lien, is very flavorful, especially the phrase "take your lungs and set off a wave of fashion." It couldn't be better to have Lien Wujian joined.